So we pulled into Ensenada, Mexico today to check in the boat, the Spirit of Nyami-Nyami, and it was interesting. It was definitely better, nicer checking in there than it was in Cabo San Lucas, because in Cabo we had to go from the Migracion building to the bank, and then back to the Migracion building, and then back, and then to the captain of the port, and then from there to customs, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Different buildings all over town, like a mile each apart. So in Ensenada, it was really cool. Everything was actually in one building. It appeared though that they did have some separate buildings, because like the captain of the port had a building that was right next door to this other building. But inside this building that we went to today, there was the Migracion office, the captain of the port, a little bank, and customs, and the fishing license place, all in one building, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, we had already gotten our fishing licenses in San Diego, and we paid $62 a pop for them instead of $49, but oh well, that's part of life. So, let's see. Pulling into Ensenada was pretty easy. There were actually a couple of shallow spots on the chart that we didn't really notice or see anything about until we were getting close. So we avoided those shallow spots. I think they're supposed to be like 9 feet deep or something like that, but still, better to not run over them. We ended up pulling a cruise ship in most of the way, which was pretty cool because it showed us right where to go, which was nice and easy. So yeah, we went into Ensenada, followed the channel markers, really clearly marked, super wide, easy place to pull in. When we got close, we called a couple of the places that are listed in Charlie's charts. Charlie's charts lists, it's a really good guide to everything up and down the Baja coast. But they listed some of the phone numbers and the radio channels for some of the places in Ensenada where we could pull in. And one of the places that we actually got to talk to this morning was Juanito's, because we pulled in at like 8 o'clock this morning. We were entering the Ensenada harbor at 8 o'clock this morning, and like nobody was open. So, but Juanito's responded to us and said they would send us out a panga, and then it'd be $35 for us to stay there overnight. And we told him we didn't want to stay overnight, and he said it was still $35, so whatever. A lot cheaper than Cabo. Cabo is $200 and some odd per night. Ugh. Well, we figured out why Juanito's was $35 a night. Man, this was like one of the most beat docks I have seen in a long time. It was rough. I mean, the cleats were undersized. We tied up to tires. It was kind of crazy. It worked. I mean, it worked. But we only got like 2/3 of the boat actually pulled in on a side tie, and we were surging like crazy. I mean, we were just seriously, we'd surge forward on our lines, and then our springs would catch us, and we'd rock around, and then we'd surge backwards on our lines, and then our spring lines would catch us, and we'd rock forward. And it was rough. I'm glad we were not on the boat all day, and it's definitely not a place that I would want to keep a boat for an extended period of time, because you could seriously, eventually you could rip out a dock cleat on the dock or some cleats on your boat, and bad place. Way too much surging. But anyway, so we left the boat there, we went to customs, we did our thing at customs. Took forever and a day. And then we went for breakfast/lunch and went back to the boat and got underway again. Oh, I almost forgot. So Greg and I and Dawn still had our original tourist visas from Mexico when we had each visited Mexico separately before. Well, we handed those to the guy at the Migracion office, and he was like, "Oh, well, you were supposed to hand these in when you left Mexico." And Greg and I and Dawn were all like, "Well, nobody asked us for them." And they're like, "Oh, well, you're supposed to read the back, and it tells you that you're supposed to turn them in." Well, it doesn't say that. Anyway, so yeah, so he was like, "Well, you have to take these back to Tijuana, and then you have to come back here and show me a copy that you actually turned it in, and yada 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 yada." And then he waved us away, and he and Dawn talked for a little bit, and Dawn paid him $20, and we were done. So, yay for the, what is it, it's not the propina, it's the moridad? Moridad? I don't remember, but it's the little bite. So, in Mexico, that's common. Yeah. Came into the slip real nice, left the dock real nice. Pretty easy place to get into. I was definitely enthused about how easy it was to pull in here, get our work done, and then leave again. So I would recommend coming into Ensenada to clear into Mexico.